Hi, I am Doris Mae C Tubiano, a special education teacher at Digo City National High School. The school where I work is the largest public school in the province of Davao do Sur here in the Philippines. Furthermore, it is the prime implementer of inclusive education, either full, partial, or self-contained settings. I started my career teaching English and social studies to grade 7, 8, and 9 regular learners in 2001. But in 2004, I was chosen among many others to be trained by the government to handle learners with auditory disabilities. And that started my journey as a special education teacher. I have handled not only learners with auditory disabilities, but also those with visual impairment, those with autism spectrum disorders, and those with intellectual disabilities. That is both in graded and non-graded programs. Being the person who started the special education program in our school, I have had the honor to work closely with many people other than my students, such as the school principal, my fellow teachers, the parents, and the community stakeholders. This has given me the opportunity to practice flexibility and teamwork in my dealings and in the conduct of my duties. The way I approach teaching has been influenced by my experiences as a teacher. And if I had to summarize, I'd say it can be summed up by Jeannie Fulbright's maxim: every child is unique and should therefore receive a customized education. I believe that students should have access in a stimulating learning environment and opportunity for achievement. I want my classroom to be a safe space for students from all backgrounds where they can feel comfortable speaking up during discussions and academic activities. Building trust and confidence is, in my opinion, the key to developing a responsive learner. So if one-on-one instruction is necessary, I am willing to go above and beyond for the students, such as those with print disabilities, by reading to them and by doing anything else that would enable them to showcase what they have learned. I suppose I could say that I am in favor of differentiated instruction. I'd like to think that everyone can learn if given the right teaching learning approach and realistic goals. The objectives, activities, and assessments, in my experience, are the key components of a good lesson plan. My compass in navigating the day's lesson is by setting SMART, that is, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time frame objectives. This way, I will be able to establish the daily learning objectives for the whole class and the individual students. On the other hand, I consider the lesson plan's activities as the vehicle for bringing these goals to life. The student should be able to build the desired abilities through these activities. Last but not the least, the assessments, which are equally as important as the other components of the lesson plans, must be created so that the students may demonstrate whether or not the activities have assisted in the development and acquisition of the targeted skills. To properly assert that a lesson plan is good and effective, I believe the components, objectives, activities, and assessments must be in line with one another. My teaching experiences would only be described as fascinating, given that I have these rare opportunities to work with learners with special needs. But among my many wonderful interactions with my students, a few stood out and may be seen as making a difference in a student's life. I remember during my first year of teaching, I came across a student who had been repeating grades for 4 years. I wasn't sure at first what caused his issue, but then later he confessed to me that he missed classes with a teacher that I had just replaced because of a disagreement the two of them had. I talked to him about the repercussions of his absences in class after hearing what he had to say. I assisted him in seeing that his decision had most negatively affected himself, and I monitored his completion of his schoolwork. After 4 years of repeating grades, he has finally able to finish 8th grade because he hasn't missed any of my classes since we talked. That child was able to achieve his goal of being accepted into the 9th grade the following year with a little help. And that experience gave me a lasting realization that as a teacher, I have these many opportunities to positively impact the lives of my students.